You know when you see those giant office buildings and you kind of wonder who actually puts those massive deals together? And maybe more importantly, how in the world does someone with zero connections and an empty bank account break into that high-stakes world? Well, we found a playbook from someone who did exactly that, starting with nothing and eventually closing a $73 million deal. So let's break it down.
I mean, this is the ultimate roadblock, isn't it? That classic chicken and egg problem. Commercial real estate is almost always a commission-only game, especially when you're just starting out. So how are you supposed to pay your rent and survive long enough to actually succeed when you're not earning a single dollar?
So the playbook we're about to get into, it doesn't come from some fancy business school or a family connection. Nope. It starts with a failed vegetarian restaurant and a pretty legendary high-stakes poker game. It just goes to show you the path to the top is almost never a straight line.
Okay, so before we dive into the how, let's talk about the why. What makes this whole intense struggle actually worth it? Well, the financial potential is, to put it mildly, absolutely staggering.
Right, let's get past all the vague promises of getting rich and look at some actual hard numbers. We're talking about the kind of money that can genuinely change your life. So what does the absolute peak of this industry even look like? Take a look at this number, $73.5 million. That's the value of a single deal closed by Kevin Salmon, the expert whose playbook we're studying. He sold a whole portfolio of apartment buildings for the U.S. Marshals. That's the scale we're talking about here.
And listen, that massive deal, it isn't some once-in-a-lifetime fluke. According to Salmon, brokers who really follow the right path and put in the work, they can be making a seven-figure income. That's over $1 million a year in just 5 years. 5 years from starting from scratch.
So who is this guy who pulled all this off? You're probably picturing someone with an Ivy League MBA, maybe a family dynasty in real estate. But the reality, well, it could not be more different or, honestly, more inspiring.
This career is so much more accessible than you'd think. Kevin Salmon's journey began with the dream of playing pro basketball. When that didn't work out, he opened a vegetarian restaurant. Seriously, he knew absolutely nothing about real estate until one conversation just changed everything. So in 1999, he walked into a brokerage and somehow got a shot, with literally zero experience.
Now, getting a shot is one thing. Surviving is a whole different ballgame. That seven-figure promise is real, for sure, but it's waiting on the other side of an incredibly difficult and totally unpaid apprenticeship. You have to be willing to pay the price up front.
You know, there's this huge gap between the dream and the reality. People see those huge commission checks and imagine this glamorous life. But for Salmon, the reality was no salary, none. He had to work 3 jobs just to survive. At the brokerage from 5:30 in the morning to 6 at night. Then he'd go work at a restaurant, and then he was selling cars on the weekends.
Just think about this timeline for a minute. It took him almost 2 full years of that relentless, non-stop grind before he saw a single dollar in commission. For 2 years, he was building contacts, learning the business, and making absolutely zero money from his main job. That is an unbelievable test of perseverance. But here's the payoff. After 2 years of that struggle, his very first commission check was for $54,000. Now, back in 2001, that was a huge amount of money. It was all the proof he needed that the no-salary model could also mean no ceiling on what he could earn.
So how did he do it? How did he not only survive, but eventually just crush it? Well, he didn't just outwork everyone. He understood a fundamental secret about this business that most beginners completely miss.
And here it is. The crucial insight is that success isn't about chasing one-off deals. It's about building a small, powerful network of clients who trust you for life. Salmon argues that if you can land just 5 active, long-term clients, you are set for your entire career. Just 5.
And here's that philosophy in action. He wanted to connect with this legendary broker, a guy named Julian Studley. But of course, his calls and letters went unanswered. So he did his homework. He found out Studley was an elite poker player. And this is just a masterclass in networking. Instead of asking him for a job, Salmon asked Studley to teach him poker. That genuine interest got him invited to Studley's weekly game where he built real rapport. Just a few weeks later, Studley hired him to sell $30 million worth of real estate. That is the power of a real relationship.
Okay, so we've seen the potential, we've seen the struggle, and we've got the core philosophy. Now let's distill all of this into an actionable playbook for anyone who's thinking about making this move today.
First things first, you have to understand the game you're playing. A lot of people think, oh, I'll start in residential real estate to make some quick money and then I'll switch over. Salmon strongly advises against this.
Residential deals can close in 30 days, commercial can take over 120 days. They are completely different beasts. If commercial is your goal, you need to start there, period.
So here's your starting checklist. First, get your real estate license. The process is the same for both fields. Second, and this is totally non-negotiable, you need a financial runway. Have enough savings to survive at least 6 to 12 months with zero income. Third, you gotta reframe your mindset. No salary also means no ceiling. And finally, from day one, your entire focus should be on building those deep relationships to find your 5 core clients.
And now, for the best part. As hard as this path is, you, right now, have a massive, almost unfair advantage that brokers like Kevin Salmon could only dream about when they were starting out.
I mean, this comparison says it all. Back in 1999, finding a building's owner meant digging through dusty manuals and literally knocking on doors. Today, you can find more information in 5 minutes with online databases and social media than he could find in 5 days. It's a whole different world.
As Salmon put it himself, information is gold. We didn't have that gold laying around. Today, the most valuable asset in this entire business is everywhere. That huge barrier of knowledge, it's been completely demolished by technology.
So the path is clearer than it's ever been. The lessons about perseverance and building real relationships, those are timeless. But the tools you have right now are revolutionary. You have the playbook. You have the modern advantage. The only question left is, what are you going to build with it?